Hey everybody, Jason Grandin and Sandra Michelle here with the Grandin Group. We are Arizona's #1 brother and sister team. She's obviously not my sister. Stacy's not here, but Sandra, she's on our team.
I'm filling in today. So we're here in front of EVKM Self-Defense Studios, and we're here to learn about ways to empower ourselves in the event of an emergency and how to take charge.
So for those of you that are anti-gun, and this is the best way to get in great shape, get out here, get a great workout, and defend yourself. So let's go on in and check it out.
Let's see what's going on.
Welcome to the Grandin Group, and I think we're going to change the name of the show to...
We're going to change it to the Lockbox.
Yeah, so because besides doing the real estate stuff, we want to make sure you guys have a full awareness of things that are going on in town here. And today we have a really incredible show for you. We're here at, you say Krav Maga?
Krav Maga.
Krav Maga.
Yeah.
So this is Derek, the owner, and Yvette, and two very badasses. And of course our host, Sandra Michelle. So welcome guys.
Thanks
for inviting us in.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, so tell us a little bit about how you came about this company and what inspired you to open this training facility.
Yeah, so I opened it in 2011, so it's been almost 8 years, and for me it was a complete career switch, like everything switched. Krav Maga had been a hobby of mine since I was 19, but I had a whole career like doing public relations and communications, and I was in the corporate world. And back in 2011, I decided I wanted to try to be an entrepreneur. When I kind of looking at different opportunities that I had, my passion that I kept coming back to was, I was kind of the most fulfilled when I was educating adults in how to protect themselves. So I looked and could I do it full time? So I quit my career like cold turkey, just walked in, put in my notice.
Live the dream?
Yeah, and just decided to go for it and opened up this place. And yeah, so it's been 8 years. Yvette, my wife Yvette,
right.
So she's co-owner here, and this place is actually how we met. So
right.
not only was it a career switch, but it was a whole lifestyle switch too.
As well. And I was listening to your backstory, Yvette. Tell me a little bit about what inspired you to come to one of these classes and how you kind of fell into this arena.
Yeah, so I was a young professional, straight out of college, and I remember in the engineering world, you work long hours, and I was working at my new company, and I remember, leaving super late at night. The sun had already gone down, and a very sketchy parking lot, trying to walk all the way to my car and sort of dimly lit parking lot, and I remember thinking, oh my God, if I get attacked or somebody grabs me or somebody just comes running at me, I just don't know what I would do,
right.
And that really concerned me. So it was actually I told one of my friends, one of my coworkers, and she was like, I know this place next to my apartment, which was EVKM, and she brought me to the gym.
So she brought you here, and you were inspired because you wanted to empower yourself and be self-aware of how to protect yourself in case of an emergency or if you're being attacked. And so you got here, you started in the classes, and then tell me what happened from there.
Well, I remember thinking, I still remember my first day because it was so much fun, right? So I came in, I was soft, right? I was not in any type of shape. And I remember coming in, and we took a 15-minute class, and it was just so much fun, right? I was so distracted having fun that I didn't realize, my cardio, I'm working on my cardio, I'm exercising. This is tiring, but it's, there's a lot of activities, and I'm working with a lot of people, so it's also very social. So I remember after the first day, I was like, this is just fun. If I can just continue to have fun, be healthy, and defend myself, learn how to defend myself, then this is a home run for me.
Right. So it sounds like it's a skill that can be taught to just about any person that's from any walk of life and any physical condition. Is that what I'm understanding?
Absolutely. So Krav Maga was created by the Israeli military. And in Israel, when you turn 18, you have to serve in the military.
Okay.
So short, tall, fast, slow, it doesn't really matter. You have to serve when you turn 18. So they specifically created a system that anyone could pick it up or learn it. So it doesn't rely on strength. It doesn't rely on all these other attributes. Because the reality of it is, when we picture someone who might attack us, we're not picturing someone half our size, right? It's a bigger, stronger, faster opponent. So we have to be able to learn from wherever we're at. If we have a bad shoulder, that doesn't mean that we don't deserve to know how to defend ourselves. We just have to adapt around it. So the system is very built on principles that allow you, whatever you're coming into it with, take what you can and then learn to defend yourself from there.
Yeah, so empowering every individual and knowing how to be self-aware and then translating that into techniques that
Absolutely.
you can actually utilize. And you were telling us about an instance where you actually put your training to work. Why don't you let us know more about that?
Okay. Well, let me start by saying I don't condone violence, but sometimes when you read the situation right, you can use it to defend yourself. So we were at a soccer game, actually Phoenix Rising, and we were sitting in the hooligans pit. And I think it was halftime, or whatever you call it in soccer, but I went to go get us waters and snow cones. And so I was coming back to the bleachers, and I had 2 water bottles and 2 snow cones on the other hand. And I was walking through people, and this guy walks right behind me and grabs me inappropriately. So I turn around and I immediately, spotted him. He was just kind of had a smirk and was trying to play it off. And my hands were busy, and I was like, no, you're not going to do that to me. So I take a step and I kick him.
There you go.
He flies back onto the bleachers, and I just tell him, don't touch me. Everyone knew what he did. He was embarrassed. Hopefully he won't do it again. And I just walked away.
So martial art. So this is not really martial arts. This is more of kind of a mix between cardiovascular martial arts and workout.
Yeah,
and
correct.
Yoga and everything else.
Absolutely. Martial arts, I think when we hear that term, we envision gis and breaking boards and
Correct.
And doing katas, and so it doesn't really fit any of those parameters. It is a good workout because to defend yourself, that is a cardio activity. So you can have the best understanding of technique in the world, but if you don't have the fitness engine behind it, it's going to be hard to defend yourself. And when it really comes down to it, the best defense is to be situationally aware and then quickly run away from that scenario. Those are all cardio activities.
Absolutely.
So the classes are, it's scalable when you're a beginner. It's very beginner appropriate, but there needs to be a certain level of intensity so that you are getting in better shape. So it's really a 2-for-1 thing in training for this. You're going to learn how to defend yourself, gain confidence, gain empowerment, and you're going to lose weight, tone up muscles. Cardio kickboxing, like striking, is actually one of the best exercises that you can do to firm up muscles and build new muscles.
Right.
So it is just a really, really good workout. There's a number of actually celebrities that specifically start training in Krav Maga when they have a movie role
Right.
coming up, because they found that gets them in best action shape than anything else that they do.
Now, what about the people that come out, and you'll know this, Andrew, they come out and they say, I'm just going to go get gun training. And so,
Yeah.
now here, obviously, you're probably not going to kill somebody or permanently injure them.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, I hear that a lot. I'm like, well, why not just buy a gun, or why not just do this? And my response is, well, if I go out and buy a guitar, that doesn't make me a musician, right? So if I go and buy a gun, that doesn't make me safe. I still, if I bought the guitar, I still need to practice. I still need to utilize it. I still need to put in work. So whatever someone's self-defense plan is, there needs to be ongoing practice with it. The other piece about just buying a handgun is it cannot go everywhere that you go, right? It might not be able to go into your workplace. It might not be able to go into your bank or the shopping mall, or when you
Or the
travel.
soccer stadium.
Yeah, or the soccer stadium. Or even if the 2 of us, we like to travel internationally, we can't take weapons with us out of the country. So you're in those moments that you're actually most vulnerable. You're typically left with just what your hands and feet can do and what's in your brain, because you've acquired the training and you've acquired the knowledge.
Absolutely.
So guns are, we live in a state that allows that freedom, but I think it's a great supplement to your other self-defense training and shouldn't be the main source of feeling safe.
So, are you from Arizona?
I've lived here for about 12 years.
So, you're almost a native.
Almost, yeah.
So, what is your background as far as getting into Krav Maga?
Yeah, so
Maga.
Krav Maga. Yeah, when I took my first class when I was 19, so I was in college, and I had never done any type of self-defense or martial art training up to that point. I'm actually from Nebraska, a corn farm in Nebraska, so self-defense conversation was not anything that I remembered, because I think my parents knew every single person that lived in the surrounding 30 miles of where we lived. But I went to college in Washington, D.C., which is quite a bit different than Nebraska. And I had a little incident when I was riding the public transportation for a college internship where someone tried to steal my laptop bag from me. And being a tall male that played basketball, my bubble was burst, because I always imagined if I were ever in that scenario, I would do this, and I would do this. And the reality is, if you've never practice those scenarios, if you've never done training, more than likely you're not going to do anything. You're just going to freeze, which is what I did. So that was enough like motivation for me of I don't want to ever feel helpless in a scenario again. I need to find training. And I tried a bunch of different martial arts, and I happened to find Krav Maga. You know, this was like 2001, 2002. Krav Maga was brand new to the U.S. back then. So I was fortunate to be living in one of the few cities that had a Krav Maga training center in Washington, D.C. And so I've really been a part of it since it came over to the U.S.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Derek, tell me a little bit about the clientele that you service here. I know you have your EVKM gym here in Tempe,
Right.
but how else are you sharing your program with?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, the bulk of what we do is here in our facility. We do almost 50 classes a week, both kids and adult classes. Our typical client, though, is like a young professional. So usually between like age 25 to 40, you know, they work kind of in jobs that maybe we wouldn't think carry a high exposure, but actually do, like realtors, right? Where you're meeting people you don't know in places that you've never been. That's a higher exposure than maybe someone just sitting at a desk job all day. A lot of like attorneys, nurses, doctors, where you know, they're interacting every day with elements outside of their control. So they need to find a little bit more training to feel confident as they go to work. And so because of that kind of professional network, we do quite a bit of corporate and group trainings where companies might bring us in to do like a lunch and learn with their employees, where we'll do a demonstration over lunch about like the key elements of self-defense, or you know, we'll go into a group and we'll do like beginner type self-defense training. There's countless stories that I've heard where someone, even with low-level self-defense knowledge, has been able to navigate themselves out of a bad situation. So if someone is worried, well, I don't have, you know, 5 years or 10 years to
Experience.
just even a little bit might be enough in a situation to help get you out of it.
Right, that's very empowering.
So you don't necessarily go into looking for the fight, you're looking to get away from the fight.
You're looking to de-escalate, avoid as much as possible. Because again, the scenario that we're likely to come across that we're worried about is a bigger, stronger, you know, et cetera, person. So directly engaging them in violence is, all the cards are stacked against us. So we need to have that ability to spot it early, avoid it, and if we're left with no other choice, how can I be most efficient as possible with my fighting back? What areas can I target? What parts of my body can I use to get the most bang for the buck? The moment that we can get away, then running away.
Now, with all the kids out there playing video games and getting fat sitting on the couch, would you venture to say that this is a great way to start build up self-esteem for the kids that are maybe a little bit introverted?
Yeah, confidence is the best self-defense tool that you can have. There's been countless studies about violence where, you know, predators tend to victim select. So, and it doesn't usually, even I saw a study recently where it's not like male or female or big or tall or small. It's people who have different rankings of confidence. That's how people victim select. So someone who has lower confidence and lower self-esteem tends to withdraw into a smaller world. So as they're walking through a parking lot, their eyes tend to be more like in their phone or, you know, closer by, shoulders hunched, and they give off a little bit more of a vibe of, I'm not paying attention, I'm not confident, I'm not secure in the fact that I might be able to defend myself, and that tends to unfortunately lend itself to them being more likely to be selected. If we're talking about like kids, like bullying is a huge factor that comes into that. Versus someone who stands up tall, scans around, looks people in the eye, they're less likely to become a victim. And like all the science bears that out. So when someone starts training, there's a huge influx of confidence just because you are taking action now in your own safety. You're not just relying on 911, you're not just relying on someone else, like you are playing an active role. So you're gonna feel that empowerment. You're gonna walk differently, you're gonna talk differently, you're gonna look at people differently, and in return, they're gonna see you differently. And that, just the act of training might keep you safe from any attack.
Now, do you guys use weapons at all, like sticks, staffs? Or
So we do it from a defensive perspective. So if my attacker maybe has like a crowbar or a baseball bat, or if my attacker has a knife, or if my attacker has a gun, that's where we start. We start from, we're in kind of the worst case scenario.
Right.
As someone gets more skilled to where they can handle those scenarios, then we will talk about, you know, if we happen to acquire a weapon or we had a weapon as well.
Absolutely. Now, Yvette, we haven't talked to you that much. You're part owner of this. Obviously, you guys own this together. But what is your day job?
So I'm an aerospace engineer.
See that? Aerospace engineer.
And brains.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, within the young professional demographic of our clients, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in a world where we were talking about this before we went on camera, I don't want to get political, but in a male-dominated world, this is really great for women to kind of step up and build self-confidence and know that they can take on the weirdos.
Yeah, that's right. And just empowering people. It sounds like this is a skill that people can acquire of all demographics.
Mm-hmm.
And being in a state where we get a lot of influx of travelers, it seems like we're more vulnerable to being attacked or, people coming in and trying to take advantage of that situation. So I think it's a good base skill set for just about everybody that's in the valley and
Absolutely.
So for all of you watching, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see some of the videos that they posted, and all their information's there. So by all means, call them, get down here and do a workout. I assume there's an introductory workout.
Yeah, we offer a free trial class. So when we do that for basically two reasons, because first of all, we want to make sure that you enjoy the training, that you enjoy the instructor, enjoy how the classes run. And then for us, we can kind of do a bit of evaluation on your first time to see which of our programs is going to best fit your goals.
And then how sore are you after the first workout?
Yeah, you'll probably feel it in some muscles that you've never felt sore before, but that just goes to show how good of a workout it is when you are learning this stuff.
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't want to fight and stuff, this is great workout. I mean, I've seen people that do not fight and they're in really, really great shape.
Absolutely.
So.
Also, they're available for corporate events. So if you can't make it here to the gym, you guys can be hired to go in and train.
Absolutely. Like if you work in HR, have connection with HR in your company, we do this all the time. Where you just even a little bit today, we're doing a corporate thing for a large corporation in the Valley, so they can definitely reach out to us and we can set something up.
Wonderful.
Well, it's always awesome to have something you almost can't say. Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to practice the
Right. Krav Maga. Yeah.
So, anyways, well, thank you guys. It was pleasure meeting you and stuff. This is a great facility, and you guys get down here and check this place out. Let's get a workout.
That's right. Thank you. This is Sandra with the Grandin Group,
And I'm
we thank
Jason.
Derek and Yvette for your time.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.